Let's kick this off with the most Jewish band in rock history getting banned for looking too Nazi. Yeah, you read that right. Between 1979 and 1980, West Germany actually confiscated Kiss albums off store shelves because officials decided the double S in the logo looked too close to the SS insignia, which is illegal to display over there under Section 86A of their penal code. So the band had to design a special backward Z logo just for German fans. Here's the kicker, though. Paul Stanley is Jewish. His family fled Nazi persecution, and Gene Simmons' own mother survived a concentration camp, so the band America, nicknamed Knights in Satan's Service, got flagged in Germany for looking like actual Nazis. Stanley later said even his own father thought the logo cut too close, but it never hit home until he learned it was illegal overseas. Somewhere out there, a German customs officer is still explaining that one to his grandkids. Rock and roll. Never boring. Now imagine getting banned on 3 continents in about 3 years, and honestly, kind of enjoying it. That's Alice Cooper in the early 70s. Over in Britain, morality crusader Mary Whitehouse demanded the BBC ban him outright, while an actual member of parliament compared his stage show to the culture of the concentration camp and openly pushed to keep him out of the country entirely. When School's Out hit #1, Parliament literally debated blocking his tour on the floor of the House. Meanwhile, Australia banned him as a degenerate who could influence the weak-minded, and up in Edmonton, City Council tried shutting his show down while he was literally mid-performance on stage. You genuinely cannot write PR like that. Cooper himself shrugged it off, saying every teenager on the planet wanted a ticket the second the bans hit the news. Funny how that works, right, uncles? Tell a kid something's dangerous and forbidden, and suddenly it's the hottest ticket in 3 countries. Governments never learn. Here's a story about trying to prove a point and blowing it up spectacularly. Lynyrd Skynyrd reportedly picked up the Confederate flag while touring the UK in the early 70s after British crowds kept mocking them as Yankees. So, Southern pride kicked in, and the band started waving the stars and bars just to say, we're not from up north. Problem is, outside America, that flag doesn't read as regional identity. It reads as a slavery symbol, and it followed the band internationally for decades. Even they couldn't agree on what to do with it. In 2012, guitarist Gary Rossington told CNN they were finally dropping the flag because of its ties to hate groups, then walked that statement back days later after the backlash from their own fan base. So basically, they tried to prove they weren't Yankees and ended up starting an international incident that outlived most of the band's original lineup. A rock history's messiest souvenir. Get this, AC/DC first cancellation attempt didn't come from some uptight foreign government. It came from their own backyard. Back in 1976, an Australian radio station manager publicly announced that the band needed to decide if they are strippers or musicians and refused to play them until they figured it out. Police in multiple Australian cities threatened to pull the plug if Angus Young dropped his shorts on stage, which, let's be honest, was basically guaranteed. Government officials and furious parents organized against roughly 20 shows in 1 month alone. And it wasn't just Australia. Police in Glasgow and Liverpool warned Angus he'd be arrested for the same striptease routine. so their own country called them obscene strippers. Unfit for radio, unfit for polite society. Then Back in Black happened, and AC/DC went on to sell 200 million records worldwide. Turns out getting called a stripper by the government is a pretty good career move. This one's uncomfortable, but it's real rock history, so let's get into it. 1 in a Million, off Guns N' Roses' Lies, packed in slurs so ugly the band actually got banned from a New York AIDS benefit over it. And the controversy erupted life when Guns N' Roses shared a Rolling Stones bill with Living Colour. Guitarist Vernon Reid publicly called the song out. Axl fired back with an expletive-laced rant on stage, and Reid clapped back the next night. Countries with stricter hate speech. Laws treated the track as a legal problem, not just a bad look.
No, we tried to reach you, but you were much too high.
The band eventually scrubbed it quietly from a 2018 box set. Here's the twist, though. Slash, who is half black, has openly said he regrets not the song itself, but what the band went through because of how it was perceived. Even their own guitarist couldn't fully stand behind it. Sometimes the most dangerous band in America gets canceled by its own fans, not just foreign governments.
Like start of mini Iran, it'll spread some fucking disease.
Now here's one that'll make you laugh out loud, uncles. In 1985, the Soviet Union's official youth organization published a banned list of 38 Western artists, and Black Sabbath made the cut for the crime of religious obscurantism. Read that again, slowly. The most famously atheist government on the entire planet banned a rock band for promoting religion. The irony is almost too perfect, because Sabbath's occult imagery was mostly theater, and Tony Iommi definitely wasn't running some secret satanic recruitment drive in between guitar solos. But Soviet officials genuinely believed the music had, and I quote, the potential to corrupt the Soviet way of life. So while Western parents were busy panicking that Sabbath worshipped the devil, Soviet officials were somehow panicking that Sabbath worshipped God instead, and both sides completely missed the point entirely. It's honestly the most confused cancellation on this whole list, and given some of the other entries here, that's really saying something.
Time will tell on their power mind. Anything more just for fun. Hey, teacher, leave their kids alone.
Next one is a little different, because for once the cancellation actually meant something real. Another Brick in the Wall. Part 2 got adopted by school children in South Africa as a genuine protest anthem against the apartheid-era education system. They sung it during demonstrations against inferior schooling forced on black students. So on May 2nd, 1980, the apartheid government banned the song outright after it had already spent nearly 3 months sitting at number 1 on the South African charts. Roger Waters later put it plainly, saying that government imposed what he called a cultural blockade on certain songs, including his. And here's the thing. Pink Floyd never wrote it as a protest anthem. It started as a song about hating school, plain and simple. But once it landed in South Africa, it took on a life the band never intended, and the band only made it louder. Sometimes the government bans a song, and the kids just keep on singing it anyway.
If my life's books written pages.
Okay, this one is less banned in a traditional way, but more banned by their own poor decision-making. Aerosmith's drug-fueled chaos during their commercial peak basically exiled them from Europe entirely, and nobody outside the band had to lift a finger. After legal trouble in Germany and a string of rocky European dates during the Rocks era, the band essentially stopped touring internationally altogether. Get this, apart from 2 dates in 1977, including the Reading Festival. Aerosmith reportedly didn't need a passport again until 1989's Pump tour rolled around. That's a 12-year gap right at the height of their fame, where the biggest rock band in America couldn't be trusted to leave the country in one piece. Nobody officially banned them. No government, no committee. They just got too wrecked to function on an international stage, which honestly might be worse. Imagine being so chaotic that international travel becomes optional. They didn't get canceled by a government or a moral crusader. They got canceled by their own tour bus. This might genuinely be the single dumbest censorship decision on this entire list. And considering the competition, that's a seriously high bar to clear. In 2013, China required Metallica to submit their full set list and lyrics for official government review before their Beijing show even happened. Officials flagged Master of Puppets specifically and banned it outright for, quote, drug promotion. Except Master of Puppets is a song explicitly warning people about the dangers of addiction taking over your life. It is about as anti-drug as a metal song gets. Full stop. The band played the show without it, though Kirk Hammett has since admitted he sneaked a few instrumental bits of it into his solo anyway, which, honestly, respect. Somewhere in Beijing, a government censor read the title, skipped straight past the actual lyrics, and decided a song about drugs destroying your life was secretly pro-drugs propaganda. It's one of the most spectacular lyric misreadings in the history of political censorship, and that's genuinely impressive.
What the music is your special friend?
Let's close this out with the one that started it all. In 1967, CBS demanded The Doors change the lyric girl, and we couldn't get much higher before appearing on Ed Sullivan, worried it read as a drug reference. Jim Morrison agreed backstage, smiled, and then sang the original line, live on national television anyway. Sullivan reportedly told them they'd never play his show again. And Morrison, without missing a beat, reportedly replied, "We just did the Ed Sullivan Show." That's the whole story right there. Banned from a show while performing on the show live on purpose. That one moment basically wrote the playbook every band on this list ended up following, whether they meant to or not. Several countries' radio networks banned Doors material for years afterward over the same lyrical defiance. Morrison agreed to the rules, walked on stage, and broke every one of them in real time. That's the whole point of rock and roll, honestly. And there you have it. 10 American rock bands that got flagged, banned, or quietly frozen out by the rest of the world. Governments, censors, even their own fans took a swing at canceling these guys, and somehow every single one is still in the history books. Funny how that works. So tell me, uncles, did I miss a band canceled somewhere weirder than this? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone. And if classic rock runs through your veins, hit subscribe, and let's keep digging.
Hesitated through, no time to walk.